Hello everyone and welcome back. I'm Brix and today we're going to be doing another ship review. I can hear it now. If you're going to review a ship, why are you looking at the Myogi in the port? Well, because we're going to take a look at it. I have to say it's not as bad as people say it is. And before I started my Colorado grind on this account, it was my most played with right at 100 battles. Yep, I unlocked a cargo a long time ago on this account and still play the Myogi. Like I said, I'm quite fond of it. To me, it plays like a battleship should play in World of WarShips. She is strong but not invulnerable, decent guns, but not laser cannons, and for its tier, the AA isn't bad. But it's not an American battleship in that respect, so it can be kind of lacking at times. But more onto that later. Today's background battle is a random on Solomon Islands. The performance is what I would consider average damage-wise. Players with 100 battles in the Myogi, according to WarShips.today, average 60k damage. So slightly less than that I would consider okay for an average player like myself. You can have games where you will do over 100k, but I wouldn't consider this an average game. I did get a couple kill steals here, but my guns were already pointed that way, so why not shoot them? Like all of my reviews, we are going to be looking at the performance at top tier unlocks, and doing the comparison on ships at the same tier and one tier above, to give us an idea of what the ship can do and what it cannot do. So let's start with the guns. Those who are fans of the 8+ gun arrangements on most battleships are going to be a little bit disappointed, as the Myogi only has 6, but it does have some pluses to it. They are of the 356mm variety, just like the Congo is, with a max range without a Sparta plane of 18.6 and over 20 with the Sparta planes. Her legs are long in that regard. Damage is quite good as well. Max AP shell damage is 10,000, when the HE damage is 5,700, and it packs almost the same amount of punch as the Congo. The Wyoming may have more guns, but the damage is 8,700, almost 2,000 damage behind what the Myogi's is per shell. Okay, that's only if you get an actual hit, not spalling damage or an overpin or anything like that. And this is kind of where the argument really starts to skew on whether or not the Wyoming or the Myogi is more accurate. Even though the dispersion on the Wyoming is 201 versus 217, that's calculated at its maximum range, and the maximum range on the Wyoming is only 14.1 kilometers. So at the Wyoming's maximum range, which is almost 6 kilometers less than the Myogi, yeah, it's more accurate. Long range to long range, but if you bring the Myogi back into 14.1, the Myogi is far more accurate than the Wyoming. If you full broadside with the Wyoming, you have double the guns of the Myogi, so you're going to get more hits, but it's really kind of down to randomness. I wouldn't call it actual accuracy. So yes, you can shotgun people at close range, and it's actually a really good feeling to do that, because you can get some amazing Citadel hits, like 3 or 4 in one volley with the Wyoming, which is kind of fun. And I'm not trying to say that the Wyoming, sucks, but the air needed to be cleared on why it feels more accurate when it's really not. Whenever you sit down and look at the statistics on everything, it's just because it has more guns, and that's only if you can bring those guns to bear on everybody, because that middle turret, I think it's turret 3 on the Wyoming, it's kind of odd, so you can't really angle and then get all the guns on everybody. And as far as angling goes, I just think that the Myogi feels better whenever you actually angle it. I've actually found that aiming just slightest above the waterline yields the most accurate damage with the Myogi. The number of guns mean you don't have as many chances to land solid hits when shooting directly at the waterline, in some cases missing entirely because the shell stops short. At max range, aim for the mid-deck just like anything else for reliable hits. The shell speed's slower than the Wyoming at 803 versus 887 for AP. So plunging fire has more of a precedent at the long ranges. Another note about the shell velocity, it is slightly faster than the Congos. It is noticeable in closer engagements when leading the target, like faster cruisers or destroyers, so take that into account. The secondaries are nothing really to write home about. You have 16 signal mount 152mm guns and 6 120mm guns. At the max range is 3.5 kilometers, and with 15-point captain you can reach out to 14.2 if you have a 15-point captain and a Myogi. They offer a decent defense on targets that just get too close, but should not be really relied on to take down vessels like destroyers or anything. It's not a Yamato where you have all that firepower going out all at one time, so don't kind of rely on it like that. The Congo beats out the Myogi in secondaries in both range and firepower, although their dispersion feels like they are really drunk compared to the Myogi crew. That's just kind of my experience. I think that the Myogi secondaries feel more accurate than they do on the Congo, but that's just my opinion. The AA is meh at best, and American ship, this isn't. It doesn't have that much. And you're at tier 4. They don't really provide you any kind of safety net. And if there are torps or bombers coming in, you need to rely on your driving skills to get you out of trouble. Your AA lineup includes 620mm guns and 8x2 25mm guns. Again, nothing to write home about. I will say that running in a group of 3 Myogis in a tight formation is decent at best for AA defense, but try to stick with your cruisers. Cruisers, people. Stay with your cruisers. The hull, again, is nothing really special. Maximum Citadel protection includes a 203mm belt around the midships and a 70mm Citadel armor, and one 19mm torpedo bulge. This is decent at best. Now, I would say that you need to angle the ship as much as possible, but this needs to be looked at 2 different ways. You need to protect your Citadel from all angles. The front armor of the Citadel is only 13mm, and is the same for the rear. As tempting as it may be, do not show your direct front or rear to an enemy battleship. You will get Citadel and it's going to suck. Your powder mags are not well covered either. At front 295mm and on the sides 95mm. She is not good to angle against other BBs at longer ranges. The casement and the side armor are decent, but try not to show your full broadside even at max ranges. Speed is also very nice at 28 knots when it's fully upgraded. It's a nice change of pace from the American BBs, and the turning rate is pretty good as well. 16 seconds rotor shift time, but the turning radius is wide at 730 meters. When you couple that with slow turret reverse, this is not a turn fighter, so close range within passing distance where you can't turn the guns fast enough. Try and angle the rear guns in a way so when you actually get past them, you can turn the ship very, very slightly and get them to bear. Because when you're at max rudder turn, you're turning faster than your guns can turn, so you're never going to keep up. And I actually kind of do this in a part of the video, and hopefully this will land right where it's at. So, why do I like the ship? Well, it's actually really, really fun to play. While it may not be the best in its tier, or really any tier, it comes down to just having fun. I am by no means even decent at this game, but for me, this is my good ship, if I had one. The one I always have a good game in. The one I always have fun. If I'm going to go play with a bunch of friends and, they're not putting as much time into the World of Warships as I am, this is my go-to ship because most of them are tier 4, 5, and 6. So I fit right in, and I'm okay with that. And I don't have to worry about losing a big chunk of money if I lose or if it gets blown up. It's fast enough to keep up with a group if they want to play cruisers, and you can lead charges in it and still have maneuverability to turn around and run like a scared little bitch. So yeah, I really, really like it. So, trying to end this thing up, is the Myogi going to be something that you're going to want to keep around? Well, that really just kind of depends on you, doesn't it? I keep it. I actually play it more than my New Mexico, which was the first ship I ever reviewed. And I love the New Mexico. I think it's a very, very good ship. But for low tier play, I don't really find any other battleships as fun as the Myogi. Yes, the Congo's fun. It can be a lot of fun if you get your try-hard pants on. And, it's alright, but it feels kind of standoffish. I know this is going to sound completely stupid because, you do lose like 4,000 health or something like that between the Myogi and the Congo, but I feel like the Myogi is more of a brawler, and because I went up the American tech tree first, the brawler aspect kind of stuck with me. So, yeah, I'll probably always port the Myogi. It's just, it fits right for me. Now, other people, I've heard them say that they absolutely hate it, and I don't really get that. I know the gun placement is odd, but it's not as bad as everybody makes it sound. And that's why I really kind of try to do in these videos, is not look at everything by the facts. You can go into the port right now and look at all the stats. You can do that right now. That's why I didn't list, all the numerical things all the way down the list, because it's there for you to see. I try to explain things from a different perspective. And from my perspective, I love the Myogi. Always will. It's the first ship I ever done over 100,000 damage in. And I had the freaking New Mexico for a month before I ever got over 100k in it. And now that's kind of a common thing in it. And I do realize that I've progressed as a player, but as a beginning ship, the Myogi to me is, my first, oh my god, I gotta keep this because, it's just right. Some things are just right. And that's something I always do on this channel, is I would rather play something that fits me than is the statistically better vehicle, gun, ship, plane, because you can stat pad anything, but unless you're not having fun playing it, why are you even playing a video game? So I guess that's where we're going to end this. I'm going to port my Myogi forever. Hopefully you go back and look at it and take some of the stuff I've said and, try to see it in a different light yourself. So yeah, that's where we're going to end this. And hope y'all have a good day, and I guess we'll catch you in the next video.